This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy when you hear the Vice President of the United States talk about now white people won't have to apologize for being white. That's never happened once in my whole damn life. And I think everybody in this room knows what they're doing. So we're here today to say enough of this. We're here today to stand that Minnesota will protect their neighbors.
Hiding behind calling people who are exposing corruption white supremacy, I think, is possibly the lowest point the Democrat Party has reached in recent memory. Because I don't know about you, but I think that exposing corruption for everyone out there should be something that should be expected, okay? We find out that there are all these businesses that happen to be owned by Somalians, essentially scamming the American population of taxpayer money. All of this is exposed. I mean, you can literally walk down the streets of Minneapolis and walk into any of these businesses, ask to enroll your child into these daycares, and the daycares are empty. The healthcare providers don't work. I mean, here's something that we all saw over the weekend, and let's just watch this footage from Nick Shirley.
This one is different because, according to the state of Minnesota, this 312 West Lake Street houses not one, not two, but three child care centers and is licensed to hold 102 children, and in fiscal year 2025 was paid $2.66 million by the state of Minnesota.
And this is the building right here. So this building alone made $2.6 million. Let's see if anybody's inside. Now we're inside of the building where there's apparently 4 child care centers. We met this lady and we followed her to the back of the building where the daycare was supposedly at. So right here we have 2 child daycare centers. We have the Minnesota Child Care Center, and then we also have Nuna. Between the two, $2.66 million. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Why are you recording?
Yes. We would like to know.
Well, it says we're trying to figure out 102 children. Is that for this facility?
What is the name? Why is it?
It's from the state of Minnesota website. It says you have 102 children here in your child care.
Which child care name is a lot of
Minnesota Child Care right here. It's from the state of Minnesota's website. We're just wondering where the children are.
Where the children are?
Yeah, where are the children? It says you have 102 children here, and you got $2.66 million this year in funding, and $2.5 million last year. We're just wondering where the kids are.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley.
And where are you? Which department? That is harassment.
Oh, we are from ourselves.
Yeah.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. Look at that. Shut up.
Now that doesn't look suspicious at all, okay? Now, you guys, let me know in the chat, okay? If you walked in and you wanted to find out, okay, is this actually a legitimate business? And then someone slams the door in your face because they don't want to be interviewed. Does it appear like they are doing something legitimate, or are they trying to cover something up? Now, there's a ton of reactions out there, including some footage of a woman. I think we might watch it during this live stream. There was a woman who essentially accused Nick Shirley and the gentleman that he was making the tour with of being ICE agents. I wonder how holding a camera and walking around and recording encounters with supposed daycare centers is the same as people who are kitted out in combat gear, who do ice raids. How do those two things connect? Well, according to some of the people on the internet and a certain somebody in Minnesota, Nick Shirley and the gentleman simply asking where the children are is them being affiliated with ICE.
Us down. Where are the children at? No children inside of this daycare center. And look at this daycare center right here. No children inside of this daycare center. But between those buildings, over $2.6 million.
All right, so guys, let's know in the chat. So let me give a shout out in the chat. Canary King, I see you. Merry Christmas. Yes, my Christmas was quiet. I like a quiet Christmas. And for the first time, my wife didn't cook up a storm, and I think she was well rested. Okay, so thanks for asking. And Intergalactic Wrangler, yes, hello. Great to see you in the chat. Now, let's know what you think about these stories. I covered a bit of this on Friday, and you know what? This story has blown up, and we do have some footage of the FBI conducting a raid at one of these establishments. Right now, there's not much fanfare. There's them carting out documents, and essentially, I guess an investigation has begun. Okay, an investigation has begun, and Tim Walz, of course, we heard him at the beginning of this live stream accusing anyone who calls out what's going on in Minnesota that happens to be conducted by these people who are of Somali origin. He's calling it white supremacist activity. So running a country that works is white supremacist. Okay? That's why most of the third world, who happen to be run by Negroes, are horrible. Right? So I'm Negro. I can say it. Okay? Wakanda doesn't exist. Okay, so forget what you saw during those Marvel movies. There is no such thing as Wakanda. Over 90% of black-run countries are shitholes, like President Trump said. And whenever you call it out, you're white supremacist. If you want a country that works, a country where law and order is observed, you're white supremacist, according to the Democrats and our dear friend Tim Walz. I almost called him Nick Walz. So he denies that there is fraud in this video.
This is one of, I don't want to say the number, it's countless numbers. Every night I get an update on this of the threats to our federal money on everything we do. Because look, right now it's very clear. The entire federal government is weaponized against Minnesota. And the issues of things that should be states' rights, states to control, they're threatening us with this. And this is what happens when you have a floundering presidency, and it is about those ballrooms and everything else. Now we're back on transgender folks, and these are healthcare providers providing the best guidance to parents and children to get their care. So we're assessing what it means. It's on every front. It's CDLs, it's transportation money, it's money across the board that they have weaponized. So
Tim Walz is saying that asking for accountability is weaponization. He claims that putting tampons in boys' bathrooms is good for their mental health. He claims that these people out there who are pushing gender-affirming care on minors who don't even know, who aren't even allowed to get a driver's license, okay, is a decent thing to do. And then he says, okay, that calling out fraud and crime is white supremacist. Okay, so I mean, he's not doing a bad job at convincing all of us that Trump was right in calling him the R word. Okay. Now, so far, we're covering the story about Minnesota. They are in the news, and no matter how much they try to deflect and dodge the questions, they are always going to have to answer the one question. How come there are so many businesses out there that claim to provide healthcare that aren't providing healthcare? How come there are so many empty daycares? We're meant to have this number of kids in the daycares, but the daycares happen to be empty. Okay, I hope he can answer those questions. Now, while all of that is going on, you know, the Democrats have this insane habit of talking about the things none of us is talking about. And here's this woman. Now, the caption on the post where I got this video from claims that this is one of the women who runs one of these empty daycares. And here's what she has to say to explain to all of us how come the daycares are empty.
Demanding to see children that are not yours at a daycare so you can record them is a level of pedophilia that has yet to be talked about.
Hang on. I thought she was going to show us the kids. I thought she was going to show us the children playing, having story time, having, nap time. I mean, something to show that Nick Shirley is essentially, barking up the wrong tree. No, but what she does is she jumps out and does a video calling him the P word. Okay, I'm convinced. I'm convinced you guys are running a fantastic operation out there. You guys are taking care of Minnesota's kids with the utmost excellence, especially when you consider that most of the people who work there can't even speak English. I'm totally convinced, guys. I am totally convinced. So whenever I'm in Minnesota, at least I know where to send my kid. Well, I would no longer have a toddler if I were to visit Minnesota, because I don't think I'm going to be in the States for the next couple of years. But you know what? I think Nick Shirley should actually be investigated. Yeah, he should be investigated for wanting to go out there to expose whatever is going on. But, fear not, the Somali citizens of Minnesota are on the job, because while Nick Shirley was driving around looking for these, at least find one operational daycare, he was being followed by Somali private citizens who were investigating him.
Now we're being followed by the Somalis. This is another daycare center, absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow of children playing outside. $5 million within the past
5.9 million in 2 years. 5.9 million they received in 2 years. That facility right there.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now.
From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous Quality Learning Center, which actually spells Quality Leering Center.
That is a fantastic place to send your kids to. They can't even spell the word learning. Okay, now guys, please let me know your thoughts in the chat. We're going to go through this story. We're going to talk about Iran at the end of this live stream. Well, let's talk about this. Okay, this is a private journalist, an independent journalist who travels to Minnesota. He does it so that we don't have to. He goes there, puts his own life at risk, and it goes from building to building, daycare to daycare, and this is all he finds.
Outside of their sign, that's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare.
Don't open up!
So this is Quality Leering Center.
Now, remember that individual that I mentioned was accusing Nick Shirley of being an ICE agent? Yeah, so this is where we run into her.
Say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open up!
They said they spelt learning wrong.
Here. Don't open up!
How do you have ICE here, ma'am? I'm literally...
Why is it, okay, that we have these people, they're usually white women who don't want to talk about the issue that there's an empty daycare that's getting millions of dollars. They don't want to talk about the issue that their taxpayer money, that if she pays taxes at all, are being robbed from them and in some cases shipped to other countries. She doesn't care. All she wants to do is appear to be this social justice warrior who isn't racist and wants to protect the minorities in her community, irrespective of the fact that these people are destroying her country.
A YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up! We have ice!
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up!
and getting $4 million
Don't
over
open
the
up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
What do you think about that? Are you in
Go
favor?
away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
You know where
You're
they-
not welcome here.
Are you-
You know, She strikes me as someone who is mentally unstable, unable to conduct a civil conversation about the topic at hand. There is fraud happening here. What do you have to say about it? And she doesn't respond to the question. She's just there to do her thing, scream and act like someone who is a lunatic.
Shame on you!
Are you in favor of $1.9 million going illegally, fraudulently to this business that has quality learning center but can't even spell learning right on the door?
Don't open up!
Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are, you don't belong here.
And that's the sentiment of most leftists. They don't care about facts. All they care about is portraying a certain, it's about the optics, okay? As long as they make you look like you're a racist, it's fine. Truth doesn't matter. Facts don't matter, okay?
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up, it's ICE!
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children right here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare center.
99 children. Paid $1.9 million this year in CCAP funding. Do you know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota. Right here.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with Nick Shirley.
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to put law and order back in the streets of the United States. Get rid of all the fraud.
It's sad that this is what things have come to. Okay. This is where we are as human beings, where people who have no business having conversations in public can step outside with a cell phone, broadcast their insanity to the world, and claim that people are something they are not. They claim that the immigrants who are committing crime are law-abiding, and then they claim that the citizens who are uncovering the crime are ICE. Okay, that's the world that we live in today. All right. So let me know in the chat, okay, how you feel. I'm going to read your chat, and we're going to have a conversation around this topic. All right. Now, here is a citizen of Minnesota who joins Nick Shirley to react to everything that has been going on.
And these politicians are just walking off, thinking it's okay Tuesday, and they want to go visit the Trump, they want to blame the Trump administration. We have Democrats blaming ICE. I'm tired. My people are suffering. I'm scared for my little brother. My people are suffering, and these people just walk off. We have a governor who fucking doesn't care. How many more people are gonna freaking die? How many more people are gonna go homeless? And how many more people are gonna be trafficked in our freaking system?
I'll be honest, okay. The guy, okay, who's posing as a citizen of Minnesota might be laying it on a little bit too strong, okay? It's almost like he's acting. But are the issues that he's pointing out valid? Okay, let me know in the chat. And let me know if you think he's acting or if you think he's actually, someone who has been affected by the fraud. I'm going to leave that judgment to you guys, all right? But I already gave my opinion early on, so maybe it's skewed your opinion of him. All right, but Ilhan Omar, look, there's massive fraud happening in Minnesota. It's being called out by the Trump administration. Ilhan Omar in April gives a speech, and then I'm sorry. The guy in the video, okay, I don't know what his thing is, but I don't know. But there's there are people who are naturally dramatic. Okay, there are people who are naturally dramatic who don't know how to express themselves when they are really passionate. Okay, so maybe in the future we might find out that this is either authentic or the guy is just, exaggerating the issue, okay, or his own take on the thing. Now, before we get to Ilhan Omar, so here's a report from Fox News.
Healthcare center in Minneapolis, and the independent journalist who published that video, which now has over 100 million views, tells Fox News the scam is extensive.
I've known about the fraud taking place for a long time. Minnesotans have been telling me for a long time about the smaller fraud that is taking place, and that's just the tip. When people say it's the tip of the iceberg, it really is, because there's billions of fraud inside the state of Minnesota right now.
And Garrett Tenney is covering this story from our Midwest Bureau. Garrett, good morning to you.
Yeah, Bill, good morning. This is just the latest example of the kind of widespread fraud that whistleblowers say has been taking place in Minnesota for years. And elected officials from towns around the state all the way to Capitol Hill are demanding investigations now into child care centers like this one. Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis. You can see this child care center that has received millions of dollars in federal tax money over the past 6 years can't even spell learning right on its sign.
How is it possible, guys? Okay, how is it possible that Fox News, a multi-billion-dollar operation, has to get footage from Nick Shirley to give their report? How is it that today we have YouTubers and private journalists, independent journalists, providing content for platforms like Fox News? Because Fox News has the budget to follow through on this story. They can do all the journalism and all the investigation that they can afford to do. But why are they depending on independent journalists? Okay, let me know your thoughts in the chat, because I find it highly suspicious that this report had been running for months, and it takes Nick Shirley, who has other stories that he's been covering over the last few months, leave those stories and then heads to Minneapolis, and in a couple of days uncovers stuff that Fox News could have uncovered months ago. Okay, it's just a question, but let me know your thoughts about that.
And since May 22, this business has been investigated at least 13 times for more than 50 different violations by the Department of Human Services in Minnesota. The business is licensed for 99 kids, but when independent reporter Nick Shirley went by this month, the place appeared completely empty.
There's no one here right now. It's midday on a weekday, and if you were to try to go inside, it's completely closed. There's no windows, no nothing. And like I said, they literally spelt the word wrong on their sign. This is open and blatant fraud taking place here inside of Minnesota.
Shirley went to multiple child care centers and said he found similar setups where businesses that have received piles of taxpayer dollars were either closed or he couldn't see any children present. In response to that video that's now gone viral, Vice President J.D. Vance posted on X, "What's happening in Minnesota is a microcosm of the immigration fraud in our system. Politicians like it because they get power. Welfare cheats like it because they get rich. But it's a zero-sum game, and they are stealing both money and political power from Minnesotans." Senator Ron Johnson says this is now going to be a primary focus for congressional investigators.
These agency heads who funnel the federal money to the state agencies, they have to demand that the state agencies are transparent. And unfortunately, particularly in Democrat-controlled states, they're not. They're refusing to turn over those records. I've got subpoena power. I will use that subpoena power to obtain these records because we have to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is under fire for all of this happening under his watch, but he says he's now taking steps to investigate this fraud further. He claimed it's something they've already been looking into and that they are now setting up guardrails to keep it from happening again.
Only now. Okay, so look, I don't buy it. Okay, now let's look. Now we're going into the chat, guys. All right, so I'm going to go back to the chat and I'm going to respond to all of your comments so far up to this point. Okay, let's see. Intergalactic Wrangler says hello. I think I responded to that already. And Tara says hi everyone. And then, I like to respond to your messages. Okay, we're having a conversation. All right, guys. So Canary Kin says the thumbnail is so funny. Well, it's Tim Walz, okay? I didn't do anything. This isn't AI. It's all Tim Walz, okay? It's all Tim Walz. Tara, how was Christmas? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Tara says, saying Wakanda doesn't exist is as heartbreaking as saying Santa doesn't exist. Yeah, for the woke people out there who want everyone to believe that third world countries are heaven and that America is evil. Okay, I've given an invitation. They should relocate to the third world, okay, and burn their passports or trade their passports for someone in the third world. Intergalactic Wrangler says, they started an investigation before Nick made the videos, but it's so good to see the truth and hopefully they will be held accountable. Thank God he wasn't VP. Look, we dodged a nuclear missile with Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. Now imagine two of them being, it's too painful, you know, it's too painful to even think about. Okay. Canary King says, Crossroads, the term Negroes isn't used anymore and it's not accurate. Do you know what? I will attend the school to reframe. Look, you say black, there's nothing like black. You say person of color, I feel like that is stupid because everybody has a color, because even white is a color. You say Negro, you say, no, that's not, applicable. And then if you remove the ROE or RO and then you put ER, that could get you banned on YouTube. So it's hard to say anything about anyone's place of origin or race. Okay, so it's something that we can figure out later. Canary King says, plus, Somalians are not Negroes. They are from the Horn of Africa. They are Cushites. Look, I am going to say people of a darker shade from now on, because I don't like racial descriptives. Okay, and now we're even struggling to even say who's black and who's not. What is black a color? Actually, I'm brown. Actually, I'm coffee color. Actually, I'm more of a cappuccino shade. Person of a darker shade should be fine. Okay, Cushites. It's confused. It's getting confusing now. But to your point, as an African immigrant, your insight might be deeper than others. Yeah, and living in a country run 100% by black people teaches you a lot about what a country looks like when black people run things. Okay. And I don't mean to say it, out of any maliciousness or bitterness. It is just a lived experience. All right. I won't fight against anyone's lived experience. I would aim for, okay, so what's the best outcome? What is the thing that we could all do to have a great life? I would like to have those conversations, okay, to kind of have a debate. But when it comes to someone's lived experience, this is what I experienced. Okay, fine, that's what you experienced. Now, there are over 100 million, I think, 100 million Nigerians right now. And if the census back home can be believed, and all of them will unanimously tell you that a country run exclusively by black people is a nightmare. Okay. And I'm just talking about Nigeria. Okay. Those of you from other countries that are predominantly black, okay, you can tell us your story. Don't get me started on South Africa. Let the South Africans tell their story. And then, we can all come together to exchange notes. But it's my experience. And, okay, Canary King, on the gentleman from Minnesota who was responding or reacting, is it a comedy act? Well, it feels like one. It feels like it's a comedy act. And then Canary King says it might be a skit. Well, I don't know. It's one thing to have people react to these stories. It's another thing for them to overreact and belittle the gravity of what's going on. Sometimes there are people who by being dramatic can move a story forward or move a conversation forward, but he didn't do it for me. Okay. He didn't do it for me. Canary says, perhaps you're not aware, but Negro only refers to indigenous West and Central African, North Africans, Horn of Africa, Berbers, Tuareg, Fula are all not Negro. Well, I don't know. To me, Negro, Negra, comes from dark-skinned. So that is just the approach that I have of it. Now, our favorite politician and future, and for some people who they wish that this will be the future president of the United States of America, okay, so that she can bring her wisdom and sophistication to the office. Ilhan Omar has this to say about Trump appointees who are implementing the policies that President Trump was voted in to carry out. Here's what she has to say about how she and the Democrats intend to reward them for doing what the American people asked them to do through their votes.
If we were in the majority, here's what we would be doing. We would be holding non-stop oversight hearings about what the Trump administration is doing, carrying out investigations into the corruption and the abuses of power and illegal actions. We would be holding Trump appointees in contempt of Congress when they lie under oath and violate the Constitution. And trust me when I say this, we would be suing Trump for stealing congressional authority, especially spending power. But as many of you know, this is not what is happening. Republicans in Congress are abdicating their constitutional duties because they are too afraid to stand up to Trump. It has put us on a dangerous trajectory. The fate of our nation hangs in the balance.
All right, so according to Ilhan Omar, President Trump carrying out the things that you voted him to do is a violation of the Constitution, and everyone who supports and carries out these policies is subject to investigation and prosecution. And just like his first term, where they said that once he leaves office, they would prosecute him and drag him through the court system, they are announcing their intention yet again. And this is just 3 years before he ends his second term. When the Democrats tell you what they're planning to do, okay, isn't it time that we just believe that this is what they want to do? They have the mouthpieces out there. There are mouthpieces like Ilhan Omar, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and the like, saying the very same things over and over and over again. This is the reward that's waiting for anyone who does what the American people need them to do with immigration, with the economy, with corruption. That's how they intend to reward you for all of the things that you do on behalf of the American people. Okay, so I'll just say it out loud. These people hate America. These people hate American citizens. They hate the idea of American exceptionalism. Okay, and I'm saying it from the perspective of someone who isn't American. Are Americans exceptional? Yes, they are. Their ancestors and the leaders before them have created a country that essentially is the greatest country of our time. They've paid the price for it, and the citizens are reaping the harvest of it. There's nothing wrong with citizens reaping the harvest of the efforts of their ancestors. All right. Now, I'm going to pivot over to Iran. Over the weekend, we had riots or protests that kicked off in Iran. This isn't the first protest that has ever happened in Iran. A few years ago, there was the protest about women's rights and them having the right to dress and, however they wanted to dress and do things they wanted to do as women. Okay, that happened. People thought that this was the end of the Iranian regime, and then 2 years down the line. Okay, so what happened after that protest took place? They started the war with Israel by funding Hamas to break in and pillage and do all the things that we saw them do. And you know what? Now that there's another protest, here's a prediction. Iran is going to kick off another war with Israel to distract from what they're going to do to the protesters. Okay, so just hold on to that prediction and let's hope I am wrong. Okay, because whenever you see a pattern on how people react whenever certain things aren't going their way, okay, you know what they're going to do next when similar incidents take place. So here's the protest that kicked off over the weekend in Iran. So that is downtown Tehran. All right. Now, and by the second day of the protest, okay, it doesn't seem to be letting up. There are more people on the streets. There are more people protesting, and we don't see a crackdown. We don't see a crackdown, that we usually see during these protests. Now, is it because the internet essentially covers and documents how these governments react to protests? I don't know. Here's a street level view of the protest. All right, it's the video is loading. I'm not sure. Will it play? Not sure it will. Oh, there it is. All right, so guys, we're going to be keeping an eye on it. Essentially, the currency of Iran lost value. Businesses are suffering as a result, and there's so much uncertainty about what will happen over the next couple of weeks in Iran. People are predicting that this spells the end of Iran as we know it. I don't think so. I hate to be the pessimist. I don't think so. But let me know your thoughts in the chat about this. Now, we're going to spend a few minutes having you guys' thoughts in the chat. I'm going to be going into the chat and discussing with you. So let's go. Now, let's see. Okay, so Canary is just to close out his thoughts on Negroes. He says Negroes are Igbos, Edo, Congo, Egba, Efik, etc. Well, so if you agree with him, let him know in the chat or in the comment section if you're watching this after the fact. Now, Canary also says, if this group has so much fraud in these programs, perhaps there is also fraud in their immigration and naturalization process. They should be investigated and, if necessary, citizenship rescinded. I totally agree. If anyone broke into your country fraudulently, the fact that they succeeded gives them the green light that they can break more laws. It's like people who happen to enter the country illegally, okay, with all the jokers on CNN and MSNBC claiming that it's a civil offense. No, it's a criminal offense to break into another country without going through the ports of entry. That's a criminal offense. A civil offense is when you overstay your visa. That's a civil offense. And the people that President Trump has been talking about for years now are people who broke into the country illegally, who got into the country without going through a port of entry. Those are the people that have been targeted. Now, there are people out there in the United States who have overstayed their visas. And the Democrats want them to be terrified that they are the ones who ICE is after. Well, I have news for them. They should be terrified. They should. They should be terrified about the fact that the Democrats have made it possible for ICE to reach them where they are. The Democrats have made it possible for ICE to essentially be able to scoop them up along with the criminal illegals that they are originally targeting. Because if the local PD arrests these criminal illegals and simply puts them in detention until ICE picks them up, there's no way that ICE would have to go into the general community where these people live and accidentally pick up somebody who has an expired visa and who is waiting for a court appearance and stuff like that. All right? There's no way that will happen. But the Democrats have created this perfect storm where they refuse to provide assistance with the police departments, with the local PDs. Therefore, ICE has to go into the community to arrest these criminals. And then, of course, if you're in a predominantly immigrant community, there are chances that somebody in there has an expired visa and has an overstay on his visa. And then they get swept up in those raids, and then they get arrested, and then they get deported. It gives the Democrats fuel for their hate Trump narrative. That's the only thing that they have to sell. Okay, they don't have anything else to offer. All they have to offer is hate Trump, don't like Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. That's all they have to offer. Nothing constructive for the American people, nothing to help you on your day-to-day needs, nothing, just hate Trump. That's all they talk about. All right. Now, okay. Now, let me know in the chat what you think about Nick Shirley's coverage. You guys have shared enough in the chat, but I'm curious to know, okay, do you think that there's going to be any, is there going to be any justice for the American people? Is there going to be any change at all? Okay. As soon as this was revealed and as soon as a citizen journalist walks the streets of Minnesota, records all these empty daycares, and then Fox News wakes up. Okay. Now, I appreciate that Fox News is one of the conservative outlets that we have out there. But you know what? I think they're asleep at the wheel, just like most of the GOP. They wait until somebody goes out there and risks it all, and then they come in to, for the photo op. It's like someone goes out, kills the wild beast, and then the rest of us come and take selfies with the wild beast. That's what Fox News is doing. Okay, Nick Shirley goes out there, risks his life, and the more popular he gets, the more he's going to be at risk because people know what he looks like. And you know what? I think we should pray for Nick Shirley and people like him who put their faces out there, put their lives on the line to get these reports. And then, and let us know what exactly is going on, because you know what? Fox News isn't doing it for us. CNN definitely isn't doing it for us. All right. The rest of the left-wing outlets would rather let you believe that that Nick Shirley is a criminal who is violating other people's rights. In one of the videos that we're releasing today, you're going to see how one of those outlets called the police on Nick Shirley, to have him removed from the building. What's going on in the world today? Criminals right now are calling the cops on law-abiding citizens. Okay, what on earth is going on? It's a callback to what I see in Nigeria. Okay, if a criminal wants to deal with somebody out there, they just give the police a bribe and tell them, hey, that person offended me. This is what he did. Go harass him, arrest him. He has my money. He has my whatever. And the guy who is doing it is actually a criminal. And the police simply take the bribe and go do their job. Okay, now that's not the same thing as what we will be seeing in the video. But it's weird that criminals who are essentially facilitating a fraud on the American taxpayer are able to call the police on the law-abiding citizen journalist who is documenting their fraud. What a beautiful world we live in today. All right. So, guys, I want to thank you for hanging out for this live stream. Patricia wasn't able to make it today. I'm sure that most of you were looking out for her commentary, and you know what? I was looking forward to her commentary as well. So she had something to sort out personally, so she's been otherwise detained. But that shouldn't stop you from continuing the conversation in the comment section. Now, I forgot to say this earlier, but I'll say it now. If you're watching and you've enjoyed the content that we've provided so far, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever we go live or publish fresh content. And if you wish to, please consider supporting us financially with a donation. A donation can happen either in the super chat during a live stream, where you can give a donation in the chat, or you can do a super thank, which is a donation in the comments section, to let us know that you want us to keep doing what we're doing and you want us to essentially get better and better at providing or offering these services and these stories. So thank you so much for hanging out with us during this live stream. Thank you, Canary King. Thank you, Intergalactic Wrangler. Thank you, Tara. And thank you everyone else who lurked in the background and wasn't able to chat with us, maybe because you're at work and you're busy. Thank you so much for hanging out and being such a blessing. Intergalactic Wrangler says, I just took my tree down. Yeah, so when it comes to taking trees down, I have kids, and those kids will want that tree to stay up as long as possible. If I had my way, it should come down before the new year, but they're going to hang on to that tree until possibly the first week in February. Now, I'll try to avoid having that happen. Okay, but I'm going to try. Okay, Canary King says already. Well, look, Intergalactic Wrangler is being very practical. Okay, Christmas is over. Canary King is keeping his till the new year. I'll be honest. I don't look forward to taking down the tree. I don't. It's too much work. Ornaments and then sweeping up the pine and everything. It's too much work, but we'll get it done. We will get it done. All right, guys. So, we released a new video this morning. All right. So if you haven't seen it yet, please head on over there and watch the video and leave your comments and your thoughts. It's still connected to this story, but a different flavor of the story. Whoa. Thank you, Tara, for the super chat. £2 British. 2 British pounds. That's huge. Thank you so much, Tara, for your support. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Whenever someone gives me a super chat, okay, sometimes I'm just speechless, okay, because I'm like, who would want to give me money for sitting in my spare bedroom and telling you what some of you may already know already, okay? But I always appreciate it, and I'm always grateful. All right, so thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, and I didn't mention that we also have a membership. All right, the membership is on the main channel, and the reason why we have the membership is to give perks like early access to our videos. So whenever I create a video and publish it, the first people to see it, and in many cases hours before it's published, are the members. So if you want to be a member, it's a monthly subscription. Okay, it just essentially is your donation to the channel to keep us doing what we're doing. I'm currently a full-time YouTuber, and your support goes a long way. I haven't read the chats, the comments from the comment section in a while. So maybe tonight we're going to dive into the comment section. So remember, we go live every day at noon Eastern and at 8 p.m. Eastern. So please remember to join us tonight for another episode of the live stream. This is episode number 127. I forgot to add that episode count, but this is episode number 120. We've had 127 live streams so far, and most of it has happened alone. I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your financial support. And you know what? You guys make doing this fun. And I hope that we can grow, get better at it, and essentially blow your minds, because I want to be able to make you come back every single time expecting that you're going to have fun, even as we look at the news. Yes, the news is infuriating, but we have to figure out how to point and laugh when we look at the insanity that we continue to see coming from those who are supposed to be working for us. And I'm talking about the politicians in office. Thank you, Intergalactic Wrangler. We will stay safe. Thank you for watching. And until next time, God bless you. And I'll see you tonight. Welcome to Headlines and History, live news reactions and your views. We're about to go live soon, so grab your spot and get ready for a sharp, balanced take on today's biggest news stories with a dash of historical insight. Stay tuned. Each week, we tackle the headlines that matter: politics, economics, global events with a balanced lens. We'll react live, tie today's stories to historical moments, and spotlight your views in the chat. From trade talks echoing the 1990s to crises recalling 2008, we're here to unpack it all. Your voice drives the show. Share your thoughts or historical parallels in the live chat, and we'll dive into the best ones. It's news, context, and community all in 1 hour. We're moments away from launching Headlines and History. Stick around for live reactions, historical nuggets, and your chance to chime in. Hit the notification bell, prep your comments, and let's make sense of the news together. See you soon.